Does this sound like you? You bought into that IPO they told you was a good investment, and now you're down 20, 30, maybe even 40%? You try to buy the stocks they talk about in groups or on social media.
You've even taken a chance on the ones your advisor sends you via email.
But after 2 years, that IPO, that stock is still down.
There's a clear difference between investing and making a good investment decision. So if you're stuck, what you need to do is learn how to invest the right way.
In our Learn Level 2 program, we teach you how to build a $1 million investment portfolio. To make money investing, you need to know which stocks are right for your investment strategy, know when is the right time to buy and sell, and know how to build the right portfolio for your investment style. This program will help you invest meaningfully while making money. When you sign up, you'll get monthly guidance on how to invest and make money while doing it. You'll have a community of investors on the same journey as you to support you, and you'll have resources to help you stay on track. Join our 2026 cohort so you can get back on track with your financial goals.
All right, hope everybody is doing well. Let me fix my camera there. All right, so what do you mean, Xavier? Whatever could you mean? Hopefully you're hearing me okay. Let me know if you're not. Halfway where? Halfway where? Tell me what you're talking about. Hey Raquel, hope you're good. Zaniz, hope you are well. Lavaine says it was a good day. What happened today, guys? Tell me. I'll check it shortly. What happened today? Tell me what happened. Hey Maxine, hope you are well. Humble Boss says historical day. What happened today? What did I miss? But Know It All says $10. What went to $10? The gas prices go up again? Let me know. You guys are talking about gas prices? Because I saw the thing with Petrojam and the fact that, you know, they're absorbing a great loss to be able to maintain low gas prices for us. So is that what you're talking about? Good night to you, Shamoy. Honeybee, good to see you. Good night. Tasha saying, oh please, wait, what happened? What did I miss about TransJamaican, guys? It's all about TJH. That's it. Oh my gosh. I didn't see any of you guys at the AGM today. There was a shakedown in the markets and TJH won. Wow. Okay. Wow. Dexter says $10. Okay. Wow. I guess I need to check it out then. Do you guys think it's a good time to buy now? Let me know. Let me know what you guys are thinking. Johnny says almost every day gas prices go up. Okay. Everybody's happy today. Even Sean shows his face. Guys, Sean is here. Sean, you saw what happened with Dolphin Cove, Sean? You see that? Tell me if you're happy about what's happening over Dolphin Cove, Sean. Then we can talk. Supervillain says I will never sell my TJH shares. And then Romain says 1320. Okay, I need to check this out. I need to see what's happening. What you guys are saying. All right, let me check it out. All right, so we're seeing for today, the price for the day is $9.72. And let me check out the candlestick chart as well. So the candlestick chart says a high of $10.05 and a low of $9.60. And 17 million units traded today. And if you notice, that's high volume. That it's higher than what we saw on July 14th, which was about 2 weeks ago, and just below what we saw last month end. All right. So that's pretty good in terms of volume. it's good to I mean it's I guess it's to be expected end of the month. So maybe that's what we saw last month, but we also saw good volume mid-month. So there's that. Definitely all-time high, so 111% year to date, 21% quarter to date. For those who purchased within the quarter, and the quarter is July, if you purchased TJH, okay, wow, okay, so if you purchased in the quarter, you'd have been up 21%. And week to date, if you purchased on Monday, you'd be up 5.8%, right? That's what this is saying right now. And let's see, so in the last 52 weeks, right? So a year ago, off of a sale was a few months. It was leading up to the September announcement for dividend. You could have bought TransJamaica a year ago for $3.62, right? Think about that, right? $3.62 you could have bought TransJamaica for a year ago, right? A lot of persons were saying, you know, after the offer for sale, you know, they were concerned. I saw some persons in groups saying the government is liquidating their position. It's time to run for the hills. The government is not going to be supporting the company anymore. This is the end of it for them. Yes, I saw that in some groups. And you know, persons were saying if the government is exiting, you probably should too, right? So that was a year ago. And we've seen, I think it started the year. We saw those numbers at the AGM today. So I don't remember as well. But yeah. So what I wanted to do though was talk about Q2, right? Q2 is coming up in 2 weeks. We saw that they did 13 million in profits for Q1. So I want to talk about what that would look like for Q2. You know, my thoughts based on, you know, some of the things I heard today. And I want to also talk about, I had a conversation with Ivan Anderson right after the AGM. You know, asked him if he could speak for a few minutes, and, you know, just asked him some questions that were top of mind for me. So I asked him the following questions. I asked him to tell me about his thoughts on the current dividend yield, because for those who are unaware, and this is the main thing about the video now, right? That I'm gonna get to the meat first. We're 8 minutes in. What I said to Ivan, I said, Ivan, you know, investors are probably now looking at the dividend yield for TransJamaica. They're doing the math, right? When a company was worth $5 and you paid the dividend that you paid, you're at about a 5% yield or a little bit over. But now investors' main concern is going to be the dividend yield has now fallen to below 4%. I think when I did the math at the time, it was like 3.7% or something like that. The higher the price get, the lower the yield gets. That was the first question. The next question I asked him was, what, based on what they saw for Williams Field, what does it look like for Q2 and their projections for the rest of the quarters? Because they said Williams Field did 52% more than they projected for Q1, which is interesting to see, because they've been beating their projections all along. So I figure they're very, you know, conservative in their projections. But 52% is significant to note. I asked him about the concession agreement, you know. So I said to him, you know, they mentioned, you know, possibility of early renewal. So I asked him what phase they're in now, what opportunities there are to speed up that process for the concession renewal. And I asked him, you know, based on where he sees they are after the half, what does it look like in terms of them finishing the year? Those are the 4 questions I asked him. I'll give I'll give you a piece of the answer, right? Some of you might have seen me talking to him after the AGM. Those are the 4 questions I had. So I listened to everything that was discussed today, and those were the 4 pressing questions I had. Now, I had it recorded, but the audio is not the best. And that's because I couldn't connect my microphone because of how my case, for my phone, the case is too big. And so if I try to push in the microphone, it sticks out, and then it will slip out every now and again. So unfortunately, that didn't work out. So I don't know if I'll be able to release those videos or not. But we'll see. I'll try to work on them. So I'm going to go through the Q1 numbers, and I'm going to talk about what it may look like. Now, if you notice, let me go back to this here. If we go to their earnings, you'll notice something that even for last year, the floor was the 8.7 and the peak was the 10.2, right? And then Melissa would have happened. So I imagine that because of Melissa and, you know, the loss of revenue, you know, that's why we had this 9.8 million US and not above 10. I thought they would have done maybe between 10 to 11. So if you notice, I don't know, I don't remember what happened in Q2. I don't know if it was like a major expense or something, but let's assume that they're able to maintain this certain level of revenues, of profits for each quarter, or let's say they even do between 11 and 13. At a minimum of 11 for the rest of the year. So for last year, they did 17, 27, let's say about 37 million US dollars profit. If they do 11 million for the rest of the year, 11 by 3, 33, and 13, that'd be 43, right? No, 46. So they'd do that, maybe be about a 30-40% increase in net profit. That's one. If they do the upper end, which is 13 million by 4 would give you 52 million. Now, 52 million is significant. So what I'm looking for first, and what I think most investors aren't looking at right now, aren't thinking about, is the fact that what Q2 shows us, or what Q2 will look like, will set the stage for the rest of the year, right? So let's say they do 12. 12 would be 25 million for 6 months. Double that, that's 50. But we also know that the last 2 quarters of the year are typically good, right? Are typically better. Holiday season, we're in the summer quarter now, a lot more traveling back and forth and things like that. So their Q3 and Q4 are typically better than their Q1 and Q2. So let's say that 25, that's 50 million, right? So that would be, how much should that be? That'd be almost, I'd say, a 40% increase in net profits. And what that will mean, so now they paid 20 million US in dividends last year. They paid 13 million the year before. So we do see an incremental increase now, or was it 13 million for the last one before that? So it was 20 million for the year. They paid 13 million in April, all right? So if they do 13 and 13, that's 26. So they're still going to increase their dividend most likely. But I think the thing to look for is if we have data to show that they're likely to exceed even what they did last year by about 30-40%, I don't see any reason why the dividend wouldn't increase significantly for October as well. Because remember, they've given an average in terms of the range for expected dividend for the next 10 years, right? So they're looking at an average that sets the floor somewhere between 34 cents per year and 50 cents per year in terms of dividend. For context, they paid 25 cents last year. So they would pay 9 cents more in that case, which means they would do at least 18 cents this year for the next one. 18 cents would be an increase, but I'm expecting somewhere around 20 cents, right? And I'll see the Q2 numbers will tell me, what that looks like, because it's gonna be paid in, it's gonna be declared in Q3, right? So that's the thing that I'm looking for there, and I'm very interested to see how they are able to manage. So one of the things they alluded to is some work that needs to be done on phase 1C. A lot of work that needs to be done by NROC, I believe, before they're fully able to take it over. And they alluded to some costs being incurred in that. So that's the thing that would be uncertain right now in terms of what that would look like. So the admin expenses may be something to watch, because of course you see an increase in admin expenses from last year's first quarter, maybe about 300,000 US thereabout. So that is one to watch, because that's going to determine what the profit looks like. But if they do 30 million in revenue, and are able to do at least 12 million bottom line, then they're able to make that 25 million. And they would be on track at this pace to do, over 100 million for the year, which I think they will do fairly easily. So, yeah, man. All right, so I'm gonna pause there. Hopefully, all of what I'm saying making sense so far, guys. Sean is saying there is heavy institutional buying in TransJamaica Q. Massive orders are supporting the move. Institutions can't fill big orders because sellers are holding, even though massive limit orders sit in the queue. If the aggressive buying continues, we'll probably go to 12. Okay, I don't know my thoughts on price publicly anymore. I've been down that road. But I have my thoughts about that in terms of what it will look like based on how the queue looks. I've been looking at the queue, and something stood out to me that there is almost 1,000 orders in the buy queue. I checked it today. It had about 960 or 980 something orders on the buy side. I don't think I've ever seen that for a company on our local market. There are significant orders there, and that definitely says a lot in terms of the interest right now. Again, I have my thoughts on that. For those in level 2, we'll cover it in detail this Saturday. We're having the level 2 check-in call this Saturday. So we'll get into more details on that. But those who joined a check-in call last 2 weeks ago would have spoken about this, right? We've spoken about what would have happened if the queue continued to develop the way that it was. We saw that large order that's been, dancing around the queue. And each time that order is placed, first it was at $7.95, and then it moved to $9. And so you kind of anticipated that the queue would be moving as well. And of course, for those who are in level 2, just watch that. I share my thoughts there. So Tasha says, we miss you talking about price predictions. Well, I got crucified for it. So if you want to hear me talk about that stuff, I do it in level 2 and level 3. So if you want to hear me talk about that, Tasha, that's where you go. Levine says they moved it up to 960. Interesting. I figured it would move, right? Again, guys, I'll talk about that on a check-in call on Saturday. But I have my thoughts as to what the next month may look like of trading, as we prepare to kind of set the stage for the rest of the year. So I'll get into more details on price, etc. But let's focus on the data here, right? So I'm not so concerned about finance costs. I think their debt has been going down steadily. I think they're going to continue to manage that. And so they have their taxes to pay. Taxes are a function of profitability here. So profit before tax would determine how much they pay in tax. So the net profit number I'm looking for is above 12 million. Modestly, optimistically, I'd say between 14 to 15 million. So if they do 15 million and then do 28 million in a half, I think that certainly means that they end the year above 50 million in profits. And then, of course, for those of you in level 3, we learned about forecasting. You can do your forecast and see, what the rest of the year will look like, right? So hopefully everybody is with me so far. There was something that was mentioned today that I'm gonna try and get to that slide. And by the way, guys, I want to shout out our CEO. Renee was asked to do the opening prayer, but I don't know if you saw her, but that was awesome for me to see. All right, I was there. I was able to get some photos of her. So kudos to you, Renee, for having the opportunity to do that. I mean, it means a lot that, that they value us as a partner for them. So we're the ones who created their annual report for last year. I spoke to a few board members. They're happy with the result, and so that's awesome, right? Javi said, let's all hold to $20. Let's not. I don't know if you understand how investing works. If everybody holds, the price doesn't move, right? And the price would actually go down if everybody moves. That's how the market works. All right. So not telling anybody what to do, but if everybody held, there'd be no. If everybody held that IPO, we wouldn't be where we are right now. So just bear that in mind. All right, let me see if I can find that deck. There's a slide that we covered. All right, I'm trying to load it up. I'll see if it's there. Oh, interesting. When it goes to $20, you buy me a drink. Okay, interesting. I like how the needle keeps moving, right? Some of you wouldn't even know about TransJamaican if it wasn't for me. But when it gets to $20, you buy me a drink. All right, no problem. I'll see. There's a slide that I'm looking for. Here we go. This is a slide. All right. So the next thing that I'll talk about for a little bit is this slide, and I'm going to share that right now. There we go. So this slide Ivan shared in terms of the outlook, right? A lot to take away from this slide, right? And there are talks, of course. They're not the ones who would be the final say here. They would have to pretty much bid on this, or prepare a proposal. It's pending confirmation, but the Montego Bay perimeter bypass is under construction. Expected completion 2026, 2027. Note that date, guys. It's going to be interoperable with NROC. Opportunity to present operating proposal, right? So he says it's not set in stone. This is something that they would have to kind of go through a particular process, but this was a big thing to share. Highly anticipated by some already. All right. Then we have future highway expansions, and he would have spoken about this north to south extension, east to west extension. The discussions are underway. All right, so bear that in mind. And then the concession renewal. Extension option available in 2036, but they have the opportunity to renew that early. And they're in discussions currently, which is interesting to me. 10 years early, they're in discussion. All right, which says to me that it's something that, they're kind of planning to, be able to wrap this up and just, focus on how to finance it and stuff like that. Well early. So these are the three things. If you haven't caught the AGM, go and watch the AGM video. It's on their YouTube channel. And I tried to contain myself, right? Because everybody was asking me, Jermaine, you're not asking any questions. I'm like, I'll save I'll save my questions, right? So I did have some questions, but I decided to ask Ivan directly. And that's because there are a lot of people there. And so I wanted to give everybody the opportunity to ask their questions and things like that. I didn't want to monopolize the mic or anything like that. So there's that. All right. So one other thing that I'll look at. So did I address everything? I think I did. No. The other thing that I want to address is the dividend, right? Which is what we're gonna look at now. And guys, if you have any questions, let me know. Aubrey is asking, is it a decent time to buy TJH? Aubrey, I wouldn't know. I don't know what to tell you. I do coach clients, teaching them how to invest, teaching them how to, what to look for based on their goals. I don't know what your goals are. I don't know how much capital you have. I don't know your stage in your financial journey. So I wouldn't be able to answer that for you. All right. If you want to learn how to invest, if you want me to teach you how to invest, then you can join our level 2 program. We're actually having a meeting this Saturday at 7 p.m. You're more than welcome to join that one. But I can't answer that question for you for TJH, and that's not the right question to ask, right? That's not the right question to ask. All right, so the dividend, right? Let's talk about this. So let's calculate the current dividend yield. So the dividend yield currently sits at, so let's use the last 2 dividends paid, right? 1650, 1292, that's 29, all right? So we're going to divide that yield by the current price. I'm going to use the 972. So that's a 3% dividend. Now, even at 3%, it's higher than, it's still in top 10, right? Which is very interesting. All right, still in top 10, but it's a 3% yield. Now, my projection is that they do at least a 20-cent dividend, right? So 20 cents and 1650 puts them at 36. By current prices, that gives them a yield of about 3.7, almost 4%, which would still be, I think that would put them in maybe top 5 or top 6. So I don't have, my dividend sheet with me to calculate the potential yields and stuff like that. So that's interesting to see, but certainly they would have to have a very attractive dividend to maintain a certain yield. But widely on the market, we see yields on average somewhere between 1 to 3%. So unfortunately, the dividend yields aren't very high in Jamaica. Something I've been, lamenting for years, right? You've heard me, talk about them here before. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for what that would look like if the yield, goes up, if the yield is maintained, and things like that. Now, interestingly enough, in my conversation with Ivan, he alluded to wanting to maybe maintain a certain consistency, right? I'm not gonna quote him. I'm not gonna say his exact words at this point. I'm gonna try and get the video out. But I thought his response was interesting. I'm sure it's something that they've noticed. Also had a conversation with their CFO about what things look like in terms of okay, what do you do now when your stock price gets to a certain point? What do you do? How do you manage maybe potential future capital raises? Would they need to raise debt again maybe to renew the concession agreement? Like we spoke about some different options. Very, very good conversation. I told her I wanted to do a deep dive in TransJamaican, something that I wanted to do a few months ago. And so she agreed that she would, give me the data that I would need to do that. Sean, we did talk about that. We spoke about that actually. I don't know. I wouldn't say it's time for that. I think it's certainly It doesn't struggle in terms of liquidity, and typically you do a stock split if there's an issue with liquidity. So I wouldn't, I think that would be premature to do a stock split, because I think they're very liquid. So but we did speak about it. I think that'd be very, 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 very premature. All right. So all right, I see a question here by Dennis. Are the dividend yields really dependent on the companies though, or more so the market running up the stock prices? It depends, because it's more about, so the companies have some amount of determination, because some companies can pay more depending on the amount of cash, depending on the amount of retained earnings, depending on their dividend policy, etc. So it's not like they can always maintain a certain yield. They calculate their yield based on IPO price. So based on the IPO price of that yield between, I think, let me go back to the prospectus. There's that number. I can't believe I'm forgetting this, but there is a range in which they're targeting. What you notice, it went right to that page, guys. It went right to the page. So their range is 24% to 35.8% based on IPO price. So I believe when I did the math, that would have been a 50-cent dividend divided by IPO price gives you 35%, right? And their target is 35.8%. That's why my upper end for the dividend is 50 cents. And they said a range of 24% to 35%. So the 50-cent dividend is the upper limit in their projections. Now, I've also said that they have a consistent habit of beating their own projections. So that's why I'm giving it a little bit more room to say maybe they could go maybe up to like 60 cents in the short term. And then if they're able to get down most of their debt, have a certain level of income coming in, debts are being managed, we could see something go closer to maybe 60 cents, 70 cents thereabout. Because once the debt is manageable, they would have nothing else to do with that cash but pay it out, right? So that is what I'm looking at for that. All right. All right, so let me see your questions and then I'll wrap up this video. I'm going to take the questions in reverse order. I hope you don't mind. What's the best ratio to analyze stocks? The best would depend on what you're looking for. So for example, if you're looking for a balance sheet, I'm looking at liquidity ratios, debt ratios. If you go to CFI, Corporate Finance Institute, or Investopedia, just search for the best ratios to analyze stocks. If it's a P&L, I'm looking at profitability. I'm looking at the margins. I'm looking at operating margin. I'm looking at net profit margin. I'm looking at expenses and things like that. So that's how I do it. Again, we teach this in level 2. So if you're interested in learning more about it, well, we don't do ratios in level 2. We may touch on them in level 3. All right. How does it feel to see the price at $10 after predicting it so long ago? Sean, if I'm honest, I felt when I saw how it was trading early in the year, $7, $8 thereabout, and I saw the momentum it was picking up, it felt like validation, right? I've been investing for 9 years. Renee and I have been able to do significantly well for ourselves. We started consistently teaching people in terms of our own classes back in 2023. And so it felt like, there's a mosquito, sorry. It felt like being able to, so I'm not right all the time, let me just say that. But TJH is one of those companies that I study. Right, I first did a video on it in 2022, February, and we've done maybe 10 to 15 videos on this channel about it. I've watched every investor briefing. I've been to every AGM. I've had a lot of conversations with the TransJamaica team. I've done my own projections, forecasting, analysis, etc. So I was fairly confident in what I saw, right? So it certainly feels like validation to what I said. Now, it's interesting because there are persons who would have had, comments and things to say about it, and I've dealt with those, and I've gotten good feedback as well of things that I can do better, and so that's what I just focus on. But it feels good. I think about the clients who have been able to coach and help to really see a difference in I help clients, prepare for retirement, teach them how to invest, teach them how the market works. I help, everyday investors, persons with families, persons who are trying to, just get to a certain level of financial freedom. I help them with that. Those are the things that I'm really focusing on doing now. I want to help people be able to have success with investing. So that's the part that I'm focusing on, Sean. I was right also, I think, about Dolphin Cove. I mean, we're yet to see the rest of it play out, but I exited my position in Dolphin Cove last year after or leading up to that dividend payout. I don't remember if I captured the dividend or not. I don't remember. But my thesis on Dolphin Cove was to wait until there was clarity around the sale. We see a year later, talks about the sale, prices started to recover. So I think I've kind of studied certain things about our market. I was also right about Image Plus. I'd have said, that the acquisitions bode well for them as they move closer and closer to the completion of their new location. Things will start to stabilize. They'll increase their cash flows, increase their profitability. We saw Image Plus doing well the other day. And so, and there are companies that have been right to stay away from. I won't call any names, but there are companies that I said, I don't think they're going to be able to manage their expenses, or companies that I don't think they're going to be able to get on a solid footing. And that's what we've seen, right? So, again, I'm not one of those persons who like to assume that I'm right all the time or I'm right about everything, but that definitely felt good for sure. Persons ask me if I'm gonna, put back out that video that I did. I don't think I should. Maybe if it gets to the price that I said in the video, I'll release it for that one day, and then you guys can see the date on the video, see the date when it happens, and then we can talk about that. Monifa says that's the first thing that came to mind. I remember when you said TJH to $10. Dennis says, do you ever get the feeling that you should have invested more in TJH back when prices were significantly lower? I don't have that issue. I put every available cash that I had in TransJamaica last year at the offer for sale. So I don't ever feel like I should have invested more, because I invested everything that I possibly could, right? That's what I don't think persons get with me. I wasn't one of those persons who I dip my toe in and then I wait. That's not how I invest. When I believe in what I'm investing in, I put my I said this to level 3, that your capital follows your conviction. So if you're convicted about something, then you should invest accordingly. And I've been talking about them for years. So my average price going into the start of the year was $3.60, because I had everything in the offer for sale. So I don't wish that I invested more, because I didn't have any more to invest. I invested everything I had at that point. So yeah, man. I mean, Sean, it would be foolish of me to assume that I'm gonna be right every time. That's arrogance. I'm not one of those people, for sure. Sean says, all I can say is thank you for starting this channel and sharing the information. If it wasn't for you, I probably wouldn't have gotten here. On the days I was doubtful, your videos kept me investing. That means a lot to me, Sean. That means a lot to me. And I'll tell you, there are days when I am not sure I want to keep doing YouTube videos. I'll tell you that. There are days when I say to myself, I'll focus in the community, because we have 4,000 members there. So if I go live on YouTube, there's maybe, 100 people, 150 we have now, but in the community we have 4,000 people. So I've always thought to myself, when our community gets to a certain volume, it's a large enough audience where I can just help those persons invest and make progress, etc. But I feel a sense of responsibility to all our community members on all platforms. And so I thought what we want to do is be able to help persons start. And the reason why I do these videos, especially on TransJamaica, it's my giving back to you guys, meaning there are 40,000 shareholders. And if I keep doing videos on it and helping people figure out this part or understand this stock, then at the very least, I'm helping all of you make some money. At the very least, I'm helping all of you understand how to invest for dividends. If you notice, most of our videos are on dividend investing now. And that's because we want to help each person make something. You should be able to get some money from the stock market each year for free, right? All you have to do is do the work. You have to watch the video, you have to implement, and then you'd be able to have something to show for it. But that's what we wanted to do. And so I'm happy that it's been helpful. There's a lot of days I wanted to sell, but I kept rewatching the videos to get rid of the doubt. That's awesome, Sean. That's awesome. Yeah, man, that's fine. What happens after $20, Noel? That is a question I've been thinking about since I did the video, because it's something that I think I've already played out. I've planned out the next 5 years in my head. I've done my projections. I've done the things that I think are going to come on stream, the things that they've been kind of talking about. Remember, Williamsfield was being talked about for years. And so you can already anticipate what's going to come up around the other, highways once they come on stream and things like that. So we've seen some data, in the past as to what can happen, right? I think you can get your doctorate now. Ezekiel, I appreciate you. Is TJH in talks regarding Mobile North and South? Let me find that and tell you. I don't remember it well. Yes, they are. All right, LGI and Jermaine, major big up. Wife and I started our family and lost track of, and investing. Your videos got me back into investing and making my money work. That's awesome, Jermaine. Awesome. So what we want, and let me do a quick plug for our level 1 course here. If there's any one of you watching brand new to investing, not sure what to do, not sure where to start, our level 1 course, the link is in the description on YouTube. Take that course. Multiple times per month, we have a check-in call for those who sign up for a level 1 course. I am on that call. We had one last Friday. We're having one again this week, Friday. Join that call. I'll answer any questions you have, help you get started. We usually give you a special invite to join level 2. If you join level 2, that's really where things change for you. And our level 2 members, I'll ask you in the chat, just type level 2. Just let us know you're here. Level 2 is where you really understand how things work. As if you think these free videos are helpful, I promise you, level 2 is even more helpful. Level 2, if you were in level 2, then you would understand what's happening, all right? And so level 2 is really the next step, all right? So, all right, let me see if there are any more questions here. What is the past reaction when there's a total increase in terms of vehicle volume? As I heard, there will be an increase. Yes, August 1st, so it's coming up in a couple of days. I'm curious to see it as well. I don't think there's going to be a decline. They've actually offered those who sign up for T-Tag the opportunity to get the same price for up to 90 days. So I think you will actually drive T-Tag usage for the first 3 months as persons maintain that same price, and so on. What's your take on L.E.A.R.N? I shared some of my thoughts on taking stock last week. All right. Have you ever taken profit from TJH? Yes. But it gets complicated for me now, and I'll tell you why. Because TransJamaica is now a client of ours, so we're actually limited now. Whenever we are working with any of our clients, if there's data that's not public, we can't trade during that window. So, for example, I can't always take profit in the same way anymore. But yes, I have multiple times. But when we're working on, so for clients that we're working on things for, we have to buy outside the window. But that's a very good problem to have, right? Do you think the increase in toll rates has any impact on the stock price? Odin, a lot of things are having impact on the stock price now. So I would say that's one of them for sure. I'm just trying to see if I missed any questions. Do you think TJH still is a dividend stock at this point? The reason why I say this is because the price is moving well past the dividend investors' expectation and into speculator investing. Sean, this is going to be a video unto itself. I'm happy that you asked this question because I am going to cover this separately. So I want you to send me this question because that's an excellent question. I'm going to answer it in a separate video. All right. Will they take any money from the bid, from their current earnings or reserve? If it's from current, won't it affect the dividend increase? They have a significant amount of cash, right? Let me look on their balance sheet, right? So, and that's a great question, Tasha. Tasha, are you in level 2? You're asking a level 2 question there. Good job. So they have this thing called restricted cash, if you notice. So they have 93 million US in restricted cash and 16 million in just general cash. So if you put those two together, that's 109 million. They typically pay dividends of about, the last dividend they paid was 13 million. So they could pay their usual dividend from the cash they have. But of course, they're going to have more and more cash throughout the year. And so I think they'll be fine. They don't need to go into, they don't have to worry about it cash-wise. But if you look at retained earnings, retained earnings is 56 million US. So that's still, again, enough for them to pay. Usually companies pay dividend from retained earnings. So the 56 is the number to actually focus on. But great question. Early renewal of the concession will be a game changer. Levine, I'll no comment. Adrian, I did this calculation. Hope you saw it. Dwayne says, awesome. Saw Rennie doing. Brian, I'm sorry I missed this. What did you want me to explain again, please? Tell me. There's still a lot left for TransJamaica, honestly. Mobile bypass, toll increase, New Long Hill bypass on the way, and more. I leave that to you, sir. I have nothing to say. Nothing to say. All right, so I think I have answered most of the questions. If I did not answer your question, just post it again, please. I'm going to wait for 2 minutes and I'll post it again. All right, so shout out our level 2 members here. Jams have been from day one. Zaniz, guys, look for Zaniz on TikTok and Instagram. She's doing content on investing in the local market, the Canadian market, and just general investing as a single mom. Did I get that right, Zaniz? Let me know. So she's building her reps. Jaja girl, level 2 as well. I did buy the level 2 course, but it was under a fake account. Sean, come on. Okay. I know people do that, by the way. That's fine, and that's okay. The question is, Sean, has it been helpful for you? That's a question that I want to know. Today at the meeting, I heard if we hadn't submitted banking info for dividends, I have never received my dividends. Can you explain the process for me? All right, so you want to fill out what's called a dividend mandate. If you did not get your dividends back in April, though, you need to check that out ASAP. And then so that can freeze that check and have it reissued, but you shouldn't lose that money. You should be able to get that back. Level 2 question, will check-in call on Saturday be recorded? All our level 2 calls are recorded. So yes and yes. Dwayne is in level 2 as well. Level 2 and the level 2 is next level. I mean, for sure. Thank you so much. Some of us are slow moving, so we appreciate. I mean, for sure. Do you think TJH is positioning themselves to a conglomerate, or at least holding company based on the potential growth? When he said conglomerate, you made me think of a certain company. So sorry that I laughed there. That laughter wasn't about the question, but it was some company seeking to be conglomerate. So yeah. Same here. I appreciate the videos, and I've encouraged a few coworkers to start investing on your videos, or what I point them to. Thank you, Dennis. I appreciate you. Say hi to your wife for me. We have a level 2 person here as well. Guys, thank you. I appreciate I mean, Christopher, I'd say no. I mean, they're a simple business to understand. Very simple business. It's not a complex thing, right? So I want you to appreciate that it's okay to literally invest in a simple business. The business doesn't have to, they don't have to go into real estate. They don't have to go into new business lines. They don't have to do any of that. What they need to do is do what they do really well, continue to innovate, continue to learn from international companies, continue to be efficient in their expenses. That's all they need to do. Give those who have invested their money a reasonable return, or the best return they can get. There's no need to go into all of these, pivots or forms of expansion. I think if you're doing something, you double down and you do it really well. And I think that's what they're in it for. Funny how I was saying the same thing about it moving like a stock best for cap gains. The next video you plan to do is the million. Excellent by that brethren. I'm not following that, John. Say that again in English, please. Anything else Evan said that you want to share? No. That conversation between me and Ivan will be kept. Guys, if you're at the AGM, there are multiple persons who went up and asked him questions. That's all I did, right? It's not any secret. You guys are all welcome to ask the CEOs questions at the AGMs as well. That's all I did. Everything is expected in terms of completion from a base. So 2027 is a big year. You don't say? You don't say. So Daddy Digital, message me on IG, or if you're already in our community, message me and I'll help you. Hey, Emar says simplest company on the JSC. I agree. Very, very simple to understand. What do you think about West Indies Petroleum? I am expecting them. I think this is public information now, so I can say it. I'm expecting them to do their IPO. Their next IPO by the end of the year. That's what I can say. I think about them. So I was expecting it already. Actually, I'm hoping this is public knowledge. If not, I would have spoken out a term. I saw somebody post it on Twitter, I believe, so I can share it, because if somebody shared it publicly, that means maybe it was in an article or something. How and where do I find that dividend mandate? So let me help you out here. So you look for JCSD dividend mandate. So this is it, Daddy Digital. They have it, the details here. You can download the form here, fill it out, submit it. This helps you, all right? And then you just send in that email. That's how that works. All right. How do you check for dividend? Go to the JCSD portal. If you're on JTrader, it's the same login. Sign up and it will show you the details. Do you think the bull is back, or is just TJH? It's not just TJH, Sean. Not just TJH. Not just TJH. But since you're in level 2, I'll answer that question in level 2. So Rebecca and Romaine, is it too late to join level 2? No, it's not. So you have two options to join level 2, and I can actually share them. So I'm going to share two options, right? And the options are going to be based on what you're trying to accomplish, right? So I'm going to do this. A friend of mine just messaged me, said that, oh, they're watching me and they realize that the audio is ahead of the video. Oh, I didn't know that. I don't know how to fix that. Thanks, Dwight, for pointing that out. I don't know what to do about that. You probably need to help me. All right, so I wanted to show you guys level 2, right? So you have two options. So we have coming up here, we have a level 2. We have a level 2 accelerator coming up. So for Romaine and Rebecca, if you want to be able to catch up on what you would have missed in level 2 live, you can join this accelerator. It's one day, August 15th. So 2 weeks from now, we're going to go through all of the material that we're covering in level 2 on that day. So it'll be a 1-day intensive, everything you need to know to make money investing and to know, which stocks are going to move ahead. Set up your portfolio, have a strategy, know how to do research, know how to, things like when to buy, when to sell, that kind of thing. So you'll understand, pretty much everything that we're covering in level 2. So if you sign up now, there's actually a code that I can give you for a 20% off for that boot camp. Let me find that code. I'm going to put it in the chat for you both. And if I can find it. Okay, so hold on. I think I found it. So I'm going to try and do this. Okay, all right. So all right, so this link that I'm going to share in the chat now, but the code is July 20, right? So for Romaine and Rebecca, if you want to be able to get a 20% discount off this level 2 accelerator, the link is in the chat. So it works out to maybe about $280. That price goes away soon. So if you're interested in that one day, sign up for that. The other option would be to just sign up for the monthly program for level 2. So we have August, September, October of live content. The last 2 months are recaps, but you'll have access to all of the recordings for the previous months. All right, so you wouldn't be missing out anything. It's just that those sessions wouldn't be live. If you prefer live bootcamp or the accelerator, rather, the link that I just shared in the chat, sign up. That gives you a 20% discount. A couple of people have signed up already. Once we have a full class, we'll just close it out, and then that would be that. So what's your views on artificial intelligence to invest? I would say you just have to know how to use it. I use it, but in a very limited way, right? So there are ways to do it for sure, but it can help, especially with research. You're welcome, Noel. I hope you're making a lot of money. IPO or APO? No, IPO, not APO for terminal. I think I heard West Indies Petroleum Energy, WIP Energy, as I heard is gonna IPO, but that's what I heard. I didn't speak to the company or anything like that. Can you give the quickest explanation of the TJH concession? When does it end, and what does it mean? So look at it as the opportunity that TransJamaica has to manage the highway. So it's an agreement that's in place until 2036. If they have the chance to renew and are successful, they would manage the toll for the next 30 years after that. So think about your grandchildren around that time period, and they would just renew again, etc. So that's pretty much how it works. It's just an agreement that gives them the right to manage the highway. What is your view on JBG? haven't looked at them in a while. Can't say right now. I'm watching from Mobay, and your audio matches the video the whole time I've been watching. Okay, thank you. Dwight, I don't know what you saw. Bust the place ready. Okay, all right, Romain. So I'll see you in the accelerator. I think the bull is back. I'm not excited about the micro market. Okay, Roger, we'll talk about both in a couple of months. Jamaica Politics says TJH to $20. Okay. I'd like to sign up for level 2. So Omar, hopefully you got it. So the link that I just shared in the chat, and I'll share it in the description of the video as well. So you can sign up to either the boot camp or the monthly option. Either way, you'll get access to level 2. It's just a matter of preference. So if you're somebody who doesn't have like a lot of time, you want to learn the same content in one day, because I mean, look at it this way. In one day, you learn everything you need to know. You'll have access to the recordings for 30 days. And now you can take that information and run with it, right? Do any of your courses do technical analysis? We're gonna do that in level 3. Level 3 is where we do that, not in level 2. I think level 2 would be, we have a mix of beginners and experienced. I think technical analysis would be too much, but we are gonna be doing it in level 3. All right. Yes, GPRS is a new camera. It's one I've wanted for a while. I don't know if you can guess the camera, but I like it. So I'll actually be able to do 4K videos soon. So once I get my StreamYard, which is a streaming plan that I have upgraded, then I can start doing 4K streams. So I'm waiting for some equipment to come down, but I was not streaming in 1080p all this time. I was streaming in 720p and it was driving me crazy. So yes. All right, let me see if there are any final questions. The audio is in sync. Might not be the experience for everybody. Thanks, guys, for the feedback. All right, guys, so hopefully this video is helpful for you. I'm going to ask you to do one very simple thing for me. Well, I'm going to ask you to do 2 things for me. One, I'm going to ask you to like the video, all right? Not many people like the video, and I don't know why, but you liking the video helps the channel, right? So please like the video. That's one. Because right now we don't have a lot of likes at all, right? So please like the video. And then the next one that I'll ask you to do, if you know somebody who does not know how to invest, we have a level 1 free course. They can sign up. It takes them 90 minutes to learn how to invest. And as a part of them signing up for that course, they get to meet with me in a group call. I answer any questions they have to get started. So if you've always wanted your friends, your loved ones, your spouse, your children to invest, send them to do the level 1 course. It is free for now. It will not always be free, right? That's a hint moment, right? So that's one. And the last thing that I'll say before I go, for those who are interested in level 2, if you are interested in signing up for the level 2 accelerator, the 20% discount goes away soon. So send us a DM, message me in the community, send us an email, whichever works. Then you can get access to that. The level 1 link is in the description, Joel. So it's already there. The level 1 is in the description for all our videos. All right. It's on our website as well, learngrowinvestclub.com. All right. I know you don't do price predictions, but do you think the stock can go higher, or is this it? Sean, I'll answer you in level 2 this weekend. All right. Jamaica Politics TV said TransJamaican bought me that camera. No, because I haven't taken any money from my investment portfolio since I sold Dolphin Cove. So I sold Dolphin Cove. I had how much? I had 60 or 70,000 units of Dolphin Cove last year. I sold that. I haven't taken any money from my investment portfolio in years. I think the last money I took from the market was in 2020 or 2019 when when I went on vacation and I sold some of my Microsoft shares, I don't take money from the market. So TransJamaican didn't buy me the camera because I don't pull my money out of the market. My money stays on JTrader. Yeah. All right. So okay. Okay. Hopefully everybody is clear. Level 1, level 2, etc. All right, guys. Take care.
Does this sound like you? You bought into that IPO they told you was a good investment, and now you're down 20, 30, maybe even 40%. You try to buy the stocks they talk about in groups or on social media.
You've even taken a chance on the ones your advisor sends you via email.
But after 2 years, that IPO, that stock is still down.
There's a clear difference between investing and making a good investment decision. So if you're stuck, what you need to do is learn how to invest the right way.
In our L.E.A.R.N Level 2 program, we teach you how to build a $1 million investment portfolio. To make money investing, you need to know which stocks are right for your investment strategy, know when is the right time to buy and sell, and know how to build the right portfolio for your investment style. This program will help you invest meaningfully while making money. When you sign up, you'll get monthly guidance on how to invest and make money while doing it. You'll have a community of investors on the same journey as you to support you, and you'll have resources to help you stay on track. Join our 2026 cohort so you can get back on track with your financial goals.